The risk management, the hurdles, it's once you get your head wrapped around them, you may have to change your strategy from what you're used to trading on your own account
Right.
to fit within the parameters here. But, you may hate it at first. You may think it's like they're trying to cripple me. But once you really understand it, you're like, actually, this is kind of improving my trading. You start to realize like, it's just a different style of trading, and if you can get wrapped around it, it's a very successful way to trade, and I've really enjoyed it.
Welcome everybody to another funded trader of Tradethepool. Today, Jon is with me, coming straight from Texas. Thanks for joining in.
Thanks for having me.
Yes, sure. Jon, in most cases, I'll be asking some questions about your trading and the process with Tradethepool. Let's try to start from the beginning of your journey, generally in the financial markets.
Yeah, sure. I started a little over 2 years ago, so I've been trading for about 2 years. The first year, when I first started, I had come into like quite a bit of money through an inheritance, and I was like, oh, how can I make this money work for me? And so I got into trading, and at first, I was just dabbling in it, and when I got in, the market was really hot, and so it seemed very easy at first. I was making a lot of money, and then the market cooled off incredibly, and then that's when I realized, like, oh my gosh, I have no clue what I'm doing. And so yeah, I've been doing it full time every single day. I put in the work. I spend at least 4 hours a day just watching the market. My first year, I read a lot of books, just reading and just joining chat rooms, and just seeing how the pros do it, and just a lot of sitting back, watching and listening, and starting small, and then once you start to get the hang of it, you start scaling up, and that's kind of where I've been, just developing strategies that work for me.
Yeah, and I guess you had this, like you said, the beginner's luck. Just
Exactly. Yeah. It was like
thinking,
it just seemed everything that gapped up, that had news, that had a low float, it would just spike at open. And I was just clicking market buy every time and just making money and just saying, oh, this is so easy. And then after a while, everything stops spiking at open, everything starts dumping. And then you go, oh, wait, all right. Okay, now I see why it's hard.
we need to learn what to
Yeah.
do with it.
All right.
And you started with stocks, right? With equities?
Yes. Yeah. Just ETFs.
Okay, nice. And have you ever, because I watched your trades and I saw the dashboard and a lot of small caps, obviously.
Yeah.
Is it something that you did from the get-go, or you actually
Yeah,
started?
that's just how I started. That's just how I started learning. Like I joined. There's a group, Stocks to Trade. They have a platform that I use, and they have a really good chat room, and they had a good like university setup. But they mostly focused on small caps, and that's kind of what drew me, because small caps, they just move more. There's more action on them. And me, I have ADHD, and so like I need like immediate consequences. Like I'm not a big sort of long-term trader. If it's not moving while I'm in it, then I'll get out. So I like small caps because there's almost like immediate consequence when you get in the trade.
Yeah, this is why we love day trading.
Yeah.
In general, the fast move, fast pace.
Yeah.
And what about your trading style? Besides small caps, are you going more long, short? What are you looking for?
Yeah. So yeah, I was mainly, because my broker for the first couple of years or year and a half, was E-Trade, and they're not a very good broker for shorting. And so I was mainly long most of the time. Yeah, my style really was just, I learned a lot about daily setups. And so I try to focus on like day 3 surges. And if there's nothing going on with the daily setups like that, then I'll look at the gappers for that day, look at the news. I'll go to dilutiontracker.com, see if they have warrants or anything that they might be trying to build towards, to try to, dilute. And and just, yeah, learning a lot about dilution and just, just understanding what these companies are trying to do when they're pumping their stocks with PR and all that. And so that way you can understand the action. So I'm reading a lot. I learned a lot about the EMAs and quantitative trading, just learning about what the algorithms are doing. There's like 100 different strategies they use, and just kind of seeing how the price action responds to these EMAs. You can kind of get an idea of like what strategies the algorithms are using. So, I play a lot of the EMAs, as, a lot of people use the support resistance prices. I'll use that too. But yeah, just how the price action responds to those EMAs, I really like to look at. And that kind of gives me a sense of, are we bullish or are we bearish? And yeah.
So once you understood that, do you have any set of rules that you follow before entering a trade?
Right. So like if there's a lot of volume on something and something that like opens up very bullish, you just wait for that pullback. And then are we finding support on the 20 EMA? Are we finding support on the 40 EMA? And so I normally wait for the 40 EMA support. I find a lot of, if it's going to have a good move for the whole day, I've found a lot of them, they consolidate along the 40 EMA. And then if they start pulling up from that with volume, then that's when I'll get in. And then I'm usually just scalping into the high of daybreak. So now we're bouncing off that 40 EMA. I know they're gonna try to at least break that high of day. They're gonna try to break out. Yeah. And so I don't wait for the breakout. I find that support, and if we break down below that, then that's my stop. Like whatever the low is while it's consolidating on that 40 EMA, because they'll wick out. They'll try to wick out all the stop losses. Exactly. And so once they do that, I know they've kind of set a trap for the shorts, because the shorts are waiting for that meltdown. Mm-hmm. And so it'll pretend to kind of break down below it, but it'll wick right back up. And then so there I know, okay, we've got a trap set for the shorts. And now a lot of people probably chase that down. And so now let's go back up to their stop loss, which would be high a day. So, so I just sell into that. I don't wait for the break. I'm just scalping off the 40 EMA. I go back to the high a day. If it goes parabolic through that high a day, then great. I'll make a little bit more than I planned on.
Nice. And I gotta go back a little bit to that stop hunting that you just mentioned during the consolidation before the bounce. Do you have any ways or any alerts that will tell you before even watching the wick that something is happening here and there might be a wick, there might be a stop hunt?
You know what? Like lately, I feel like because there hasn't been a ton of volume in the market, at least for like the last month or so, I feel like the only way the market's able to create more volatility with less volume is by setting these traps. And so what alerts me is when I see a long trap. So like there is a high a day break, but it's a failed high a day break, and then it starts to melt down, because I know that's what shorts are looking for.
Right.
Like, oh, it broke high a day and it didn't go. It failed that high a day break. Now we're going back down. And then it acts like it's melting down to a support level. And now shorts are, everybody's being patient. What move are we going to make now? And then I just wait for that big red candle to drop, and then you'll see it suck right back up, because all that supply down there is just being bought up immediately. Yeah. And so the long trap, it alerts me to wait for the short trap, because it's almost like they're trapping shorts by first creating a long trap. And so once I see that, I see the long trap, I get ready for the short trap. And if it does suck back up to that support and then start pulling up, shorts are going to start panicking. They're like, oh, I got in on that dump, and now it's just like slowly climbing up, so that you'll start to see them, all the shorts start to panic into that high day. So yeah, so if I just see a short trap, I don't really jump on it, because lately there's not a ton of volume. So I feel like whatever the first trap is, that's just a setup for the second trap. And then there's the move. At least lately. When the volume's really high, like, it'll change. Maybe I will jump down on the first trap set, but
Yeah.
yeah, just lately because of the volume, I feel like they have to create all these traps just to create volatility. That's what I've been doing recently. It's just waiting for that double trap setup.
This is very important what you just mentioned, because this is only something that you can understand and learn through the charts. When you're
Right.
watching the chart so long, you get those nuances and understand the market behavior, the price action behind it, and those traps. So this is why you cannot really replace time, right? You gotta
Right.
sit and look at the charts in order to understand it properly.
Yeah, it starts to click after a while. You start to see those same types of candles, and you just spend time even after trading, after I put my kid to bed, I come in here and I spend an hour and I just look at all the, not even charts that I traded, just kind of look at all the biggest runners of the day. You don't have to sit there and look at every single detail, but just get a picture of the chart and then kind of go and like try to pick out the candles, like where it all started, like where did this big move start? And you start to see like it's usually these trap candles that kind of start the run. It's these big drops that just suck right back up because you know that there's a lot of buying support in there. You can look at level 2 and all that, but they'll flash orders and then take those orders away. You can't. So it's like that can be misleading looking at level 2. I feel like the only way is to actually look at the price action that's on the chart.
Yeah, and if we're talking about level 2, if you're already using level 2, you got to use it like a chart. So pay attention. You got to watch it from the beginning of the market, when the market opens, and then watch it how it develops exactly like a chart, and then you can understand the nuances within the level 2. But if you're
Right.
just watching the level 2 right now and never pay attention to before the action before it, then you're missing the whole point.
Right.
Righty, amazing, John. I'm going to share my screen and show you your dashboard.
Okay.
Basically, every trader gets his own dashboard, and you can track your stats and understand where you're at in the progress and the program. So you've been trading the Flex 25K, which is basically $25,000 of buying power.
Mm-hmm.
The target was 1,500, meaning 6%, which is fairly doable, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
I did it in 3 days, I believe. So
Oh, okay, 31. Yeah, like 4 days of trading, incredible, super fast. You have a few consistency rules that you need to follow. And then let's talk a little bit about your stats here. 43% success rate and a 2.6 ratio. Is that something that you usually, that's your stats in most cases? Like,
that might be. I feel like my best trades, if you actually look at the risk I had on a certain trade, it would be a lot better than that. Like some of those trades, would have been like a 1 to 10 risk reward, but it just depends on the size I'm taking, I guess.
okay.
The amount of confidence I have in a move, obviously I'll size up. I take a lot of really small losses because I'm really working on my idle hands syndrome, and so there's a lot of small size losses that go in there, but I'm not sure. I've never really looked at it as an overview of like all my trades. I try to, like, when I go into a trade, I try to stick to at least a 1 to 3 risk reward.
Nice.
But yeah, you'll get some like bigger size trades that didn't work out where it's like, I'll take like $120 loss, but my reward I was hoping would be like, 700 or something. So
Do you usually take profit, just set limits in the platform, or?
I will, yeah. I'll go ahead and I'll place my stop loss. I like to place especially because the volume's so low lately. It's very easy to just wick out all the stop losses.
Yeah.
And so I try to set my stop loss a little bit lower than the support level. And then I'll just set my take profit price at right at the support levels, or maybe or the resistance levels just a little bit under it. Yeah, I used to, when with E-Trade, I had to get better at that, because with E-Trade, the market sells were you get really good market sells with E-Trade. That's the one thing I liked about them. But the spreads with this are a little bit wider. So I found there's a lot of slippage with the market sells, and so yeah, I got better at setting those take profit levels, just under support resistance.
And going back to your trades, I do love the fact that you're trading mostly small caps, but you're going long as well. You're not just a short buyers.
Right.
Traders do love the short side. I can tell you that. But you are playing both sides, and that's great.
Yeah, and I didn't really start shorting until I joined Trade the Pool. This is like my first time shorting, but if you've been longing long enough, you know when something's going to fail. You have a pretty good idea when something's going to fail.
Yeah, exactly. So this is why, you can take both sides, and I guess you give yourself more opportunities in the market because you have other strategies in your arsenal, and not just going short and looking for that illusion.
Absolutely, yeah. When I'm longing something like this morning, I was long on BTAI, and I sold and made my profit that I wanted, and then I saw that it was failing, and then I switched to the short side, and then scalped a little move down and just made a little more.
Yeah.
So it's really great to be able to play both sides.
So that's actually your funded account that you currently trade.
Yeah. So this morning was my first day and to trade on the funded account.
Amazing. So you're already up $300. Did a few trades here, 6-1 on the risk reward. I mean, that will probably drop a little bit, but
yeah,
that's a very nice move there. Amazing, Jon. So first of all, thanks so much for all the interview and the knowledge that you just shared with us.
Yeah.
I'm sure the guys at home will love it, especially the stop hunt. This is something that everyone is looking for more information about,
Right.
And anything else you want to add on Trade the Pool? Generally, how is the process? And
the process was really cool. I love that. I work on Macs, and I just realized you guys have a web-based platform, which I can't wait to go explore. I've just been trading off of my iPad, and I was a little weary about it, but it's actually really easy to navigate, and I had a lot of fun. Nice. It makes it really easy to set the stop loss and set your take profit. Like, you place it all in one order if you want to.
Yeah.
Or if you want to just get in and then go modify it, I modify my stop loss a lot as it's moving. Yeah. And so, it was really easy. I really love the platform, and I can't wait to go check out the web-based one. I know that'll be a lot easier to use. So
that's for sure.
I love the process. Absolutely. The risk management, the hurdles, it's once you get your head wrapped around them, you may have to change your strategy from what you're used to trading on your own account to fit within the parameters here. But, you may hate it at first. You may think it's like they're trying to cripple me. But once you really understand it, you're like, actually, this is kind of improving my trading. You start to realize, like, it's just a different style of trading, and if you can get wrapped around it, it's a very successful way to trade, and I've really enjoyed it.
It's amazing to hear. Really, really great feedback. Thanks so much.
Of course.
Alrighty, so we'll finish here. Guys that want to check us out, go to tradethepool.com, and we'll see you on the next video. Thanks again, Jon.
Thank you.
Bye, guys.